Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you might shake something deep inside you. Have you ever felt like you were doing everything right, yet she still didn't choose you? Like you were invisible while someone else who tried less got all her attention? That feeling isn't random, it's a pattern, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. Before we go deeper, make sure you subscribe and like this video, because what you're about to learn could completely change how women perceive you. Now let me tell you something most men never hear. A woman doesn't choose the man who wants her the most. She chooses the man who makes her feel something she cannot explain, something rare, something she can't easily replace. And that's where most men lose without even realizing it. You've been told to be nice, to be available, to show her how much you care. But what if I told you that too much availability quietly erases your value in her eyes? Not because she's cruel, but because human psychology is wired to respect what feels earned, not what feels freely given without tension. When a woman looks at you, she's not just seeing your face, your body, or your words. She's reading your emotional presence, your boundaries, your silence, your ability to walk away without fear. And in that silent evaluation, she asks herself one question she may never say out loud. Does this man need me, or does he choose me? Because those are two very different energies, and she can feel the difference instantly. A man who needs her feels heavy, predictable, safe in a way that lacks excitement. But a man who chooses her, that man feels grounded, controlled, and slightly out of reach. And that tiny emotional distance creates something powerful inside her. Curiosity, respect, desire. You don't attract a woman by chasing her attention. You attract her by becoming someone whose attention feels valuable. And here's the truth most men avoid. If she senses that your world revolves around her too early, she stops seeing you as a challenge. And once that happens, her attraction doesn't grow. It slowly fades. So if you've ever wondered why she pulls away just when you start trying harder, it's because effort without emotional strength feels like pressure, not attraction. And once you understand that, everything begins to change. There's something subtle, almost invisible, that shifts the moment a woman starts seeing you differently. And most men miss it completely. It's not about what you say, it's about what you don't chase. Because attraction doesn't grow in constant reassurance, it grows in emotional space. When you stop trying to prove yourself, something powerful happens. Your energy changes, your words become lighter, your presence becomes calmer, and suddenly she starts leaning in instead of pulling away. Not because you did more, but because you finally stopped doing too much. You see, a woman is naturally drawn to a man who feels centered in himself, not a man who is constantly adjusting his behavior to win her approval. Because the moment you start performing for her, you silently place her above you, and she feels that imbalance immediately. And here's the uncomfortable truth. She doesn't want to feel above you. She wants to feel drawn to you. When you text her less out of confidence, not manipulation. When you live your life without constantly checking if she noticed. When your mood doesn't rise and fall based on her attention, you create emotional stability. And stability is deeply attractive because it feels rare. Most men react, but the man she chooses responds. Reacting is impulsive. It's texting back instantly out of fear. It's over-explaining. It's trying to fix every silence. But responding, that's controlled. That's intentional. That's a man who understands his value without needing constant validation. And when she feels that, something shifts inside her. She starts wondering about you, thinking about you, not because you demanded her attention, but because you didn't. And that creates a quiet tension in her mind, a question she wants to answer. Why does he feel different? That question is where attraction begins to grow. Because mystery isn't about playing games. It's about not revealing everything too quickly. It's about letting her discover you layer by layer, instead of handing her your entire emotional world before she's even earned access to it. And when you do that, when you slow things down and hold your center, she starts investing. Not because you asked her to, but because she feels the space to do it. That's when her effort becomes real. When she texts first, when she asks questions, when she starts trying to understand you. And in that moment, the dynamic flips. You're no longer chasing her interest, she's stepping into yours. And that shift is where real attraction lives. Listen to this carefully, because this is where most men misunderstand attraction at a deeper level. What you think she wants and what she actually responds to are often two completely different things. You may believe that honesty, consistency, and effort alone will make her choose you, but attraction is not built on logic alone. It is built on emotion, tension, and perception. When she sees a man who is fully comfortable in himself, who doesn't rush to impress, who doesn't over-explain his value, she begins to experience something very specific: curiosity mixed with respect. And respect is the foundation of lasting attraction. Without respect, attraction becomes unstable and short-lived. With respect, attraction deepens over time. One of the clearest signals she uses to measure you is how you handle uncertainty. Do you panic when she replies late, or do you remain steady? Do you try to regain control by sending multiple messages, or do you trust your position and continue living your life? Her subconscious is always observing these micro-reactions, and through them, she decides whether you are emotionally grounded or easily shaken. A grounded man creates a sense of safety that is not boring, but deeply stabilizing. That stability allows her to relax into her natural feminine energy, and when that happens, she feels more open, more expressive, and more connected. This is not something you can force. It emerges when your internal world is aligned with confidence, self-respect, and emotional independence. The more you try to control her feelings, the more resistance you create. The more you allow her to feel free while maintaining your own standards, the more naturally she leans toward you. Because attraction grows in environments where a woman feels both emotional connection and a subtle sense of unpredictability in a healthy way. Not chaos, not confusion, but enough space that she cannot fully predict your next move or your emotional state. That unpredictability keeps her mentally engaged and emotionally invested. And in that state, she begins to associate you with depth, not dependency. And once she perceives you as a man with depth, she stops testing your limits and starts respecting them. That is the moment her behavior toward you becomes more intentional, more consistent, and more aligned with genuine interest. And that is when you were never chasing her at all, but becoming a version of yourself that truly draws her. Another thing you must understand is that women are highly sensitive to incongruence. When your words, actions, and emotional signals don't match, she feels it instantly, even if she cannot explain why. And when that happens, her attraction begins to weaken, because inconsistency creates uncertainty, and uncertainty without stability leads to hesitation. For example, if you act confident in person but become overly available, overly eager, or emotionally reactive in messages, she notices the contrast, and that contrast lowers her sense of trust in your presence. Not because she is judging you harshly, but because her mind is constantly scanning for reliability. A man she chooses is not perfect, but he is consistent in how he carries himself. He doesn't shift his personality depending on whether he is trying to impress her or not. He remains the same grounded version of himself regardless of the situation, and that consistency sends a powerful message without words. It tells her that you are not performing, you are being. Now here's where many men make a critical mistake. They assume that being consistent means being predictable in a boring way, but that's not true. Consistency in behavior and unpredictability in outcomes are two different things. A man who is consistent in his standards, yet unpredictable in his decisions, creates intrigue. She knows your values, but she cannot easily predict your reactions or emotional responses, and that combination keeps her mentally engaged. She starts to observe you more closely, not because you are confusing her, but because you are not easily defined. And when a woman cannot fully categorize a man, her curiosity naturally increases. At the same time, your boundaries play a major role. When you calmly say no to things that don't align with you, when you don't bend your values to avoid losing her, you communicate self-respect without saying a word. And self-respect is one of the strongest attraction signals you can display, because deep down, she is not just choosing a partner, she is choosing how she feels about herself when she is with you. And when you demonstrate that you value your time, your energy, and your direction in life, she begins to feel that being with you carries meaning. Not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. That is when her interest stops being casual and starts becoming intentional. Now let's go deeper, because this is where everything either comes together or falls apart for most men. Presence. Presence is not about talking more or saying the perfect thing. It's about how fully you exist in the moment when you are with her. When a man is truly present, he is not distracted, not anxious, not trying to escape the moment or rush the outcome. He is there, calm, aware, and grounded in himself. And a woman can feel that instantly. When you look at her, and you are not searching for validation in her eyes, when you listen to her without interrupting to impress, when you respond without rehearsing every word in your head, you create a sense of emotional safety that feels rare. Most people are mentally elsewhere, thinking about what to say next, worrying about how they are perceived. But a man who is present doesn't operate from that space. He operates from awareness. And that awareness gives him a natural edge, because she feels seen, not analyzed, heard, not managed, connected to, not pursued. Presence also means you are not rushing the connection. You are allowing it to unfold naturally. You are not trying to force closeness before it's earned, and that restraint communicates maturity. A woman will often test this indirectly. She might pull back slightly, reduce communication, or create a small emotional gap. Not to play games, but to see how you respond. Do you chase immediately, or do you remain steady and continue your direction? A man with strong presence does not collapse into anxiety. He maintains his center. He understands that attraction is not built in a single interaction. It develops over time through repeated signals of stability, confidence, and emotional control. And when she sees that you are not easily shaken, not easily influenced, and not dependent on her reactions to feel secure, something shifts inside her. She begins to feel that being around you is different from everyone else. Not because you are trying to be different, but because you are not trying at all. That effortless energy is what stands out, because effort without presence feels forced, but presence without effort feels natural, calm, and attractive. And in that state, she starts to associate you with something deeper than attention. She associates you with emotional clarity, with calm confidence, and with a sense of direction she can feel but not fully explain. And that is when she begins to choose you. Not because you convinced her, but because your presence made it easy for her to feel what she was already looking for. At this point, everything comes down to one final truth most men overlook. A woman chooses the man who feels like a leader in his own life, not someone waiting for direction, approval, or permission from her. Leadership here is not about control or dominance in an unhealthy sense. It's about internal direction, clarity, and emotional independence. When a man knows who he is, where he is going, and what he stands for, his energy communicates certainty. And certainty is deeply attractive because it removes confusion. She doesn't have to guess where she stands all the time. She can feel that the man in front of her has a life that is already in motion. And here's what matters. When you are focused on building your purpose, improving your skills, strengthening your mindset, and taking care of your physical and emotional well-being, you naturally become less reactive to external validation. You stop needing her attention to feel worthy. And when that happens, your interactions with her change completely. You are no longer approaching her from a place of lack. You are engaging from a place of abundance. You are not trying to get something from her. You are sharing space with her. That shift is subtle but powerful. Because women are highly attuned to intention, she can sense whether a man is approaching her because he is empty and seeking validation, or because he is already fulfilled and simply choosing to connect. And when she feels that you are not dependent on her presence to feel complete, she relaxes. She feels free. And in that freedom, she becomes more open, more expressive, and more naturally drawn to you. At that stage, attraction is no longer something you chase or negotiate. It becomes something that develops organically through mutual respect, emotional alignment, and genuine connection. So if you remember anything from this, remember this. You don't become the man she chooses by trying harder in ways that weaken your position. You become the man she chooses by strengthening your foundation, controlling your emotions, respecting your own value, and allowing attraction to build through stability, not pressure. Because when she sees a man who is grounded, self-directed, emotionally composed, and unapologetically focused on his own life, she doesn't feel pushed, she feels pulled. And that pull is what makes her choose you, naturally, without force, without confusion, and without you ever needing to chase her at all.